Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to the Catering Circle, Season 4 of the Restaurant Talent Show. I'm Nadia Ali, your host for this evening. It's great to be back. I just want to say a big thank you to the other hosts that were sitting in for me. You did a wonderful job. But you know what? I'm just glad to be back here. I think I heat it up the most. But anyway, without any further ado, let me tell you all about the show. If you're new to the show and you don't know much about it, I'm going to tell you right now how it works. 10 episodes in Season 4. We had over 80 people participating, 80 restaurants taking part in this season. And from that 80, we will be taking 10 winners into the grand finale in 2020 at the business conference, which I'm really looking forward to, because that's where we find the best of the best across the UK. Now, if you're wondering, Nadia, what happened in the previous episode? Well, here's a little recap.
Welcome to Restaurant Talent Show, Season 4, Episode 8.
We flew a curry from Portsmouth to France by private jets.
Starts at home first. So what we do, we start at home, spread strongly in the hometown.
I keep my business name HB, so people can say very quick HB.
We do marketing like Facebook and stuff.
The media cover was very good, and I was successful on that one as well.
Introduced our own app and promoted this via text message, and we've done push notifications.
So I'm integrating my academic knowledge with my clients' demand. And
many of them are using exactly, what they should be. They're using Facebook, they're using Instagram, they're using Google.
Traditionally British, they don't want to go more than 10 to 12 miles away for a Friday night meal or a Saturday night meal. So it's captive, so you need to have always a professional advice before you start.
Marketing and branding, it's about a discipline. It's about knowing your market, knowing your brand and what you're offering, sticking to it, and also utilising all your skills and your staff skills.
How can I get into the national papers? How can I do this? How can I get on television? But you're a local community restaurant. Connect with your community.
We used to use menus and stuff like that through the door, but you can't monitor the traffic.
The digital website, the Mr. Indicator website, is the business card. It is the menu, it is the selling point.
Everybody got Android phone and they can watch everything nowadays.
We advertise now with Facebook, Instagram.
You can attract the customers and appeal to them through graphic designs.
we need to equip ourselves to make sure we face the modern challenges and the challenges in the future.
Looking at the customer profile and picking up their behavioral pattern, which is really, really important.
Monsters like Just Eat and things like this, you need to collect data, and you need to do that.
There's no point in flirting with the global market when the local market is the one you should be targeting.
They're doing the marketing and then seeing how the marketing is performing and then continually improving that. So I like that.
It's very important to build the sponsorship. To fly the curry out cost us £15,000. That's my budget for about 2 years probably.
My first question would be, how much would you charge for advertisement like this on your show? So I've got it for free.
Local food bloggers and influencers, as they are well trusted in the local community.
I'll give them a gift voucher, £10, if you all share and like this picture or promote my business.
Now, finally, I have the result. And here I have the result. Akash is the winner with 94%. India with 88%. Congratulations to the winners.
There you have it. Thank you once again to Tafazul Bhai for sitting in for me in the last episode. You did an absolute wonderful job. Now, just to let you know, we usually have 8 to 7 participants participating in each episode, and only 2 make it through with the ticket to the grand finale in 2020 for the business conference. However, just to let you know how it works, it's a very fair process. It's all to do with the votings with our panel judges and our special judges. Now, let me introduce you to our panel judges today, who hold 60% of the votes, which is quite a lot, 20% each. Now, first of all, we have Ahmadus Samad Chowdhury, the chairman of Channel S Television, chief advisor to Catering Circle, obviously one of the pioneers in our community, in the catering industry. You have done so much. It's unreal, and it's great for you to be here, because you are honestly the pillar of the community, especially with British Bangladeshis and just Britain and bringing them together. So thank you very much for joining us. And actually, as I go along and introduce the judges, I'd like to ask you, because today's topic is about immigration, staff crisis and recruitment. I'd like you to just give our participants some advice on what are you looking out for?
Well, basically it is a tough time, and it is a very confusing time right now because of Brexit and so on. So we don't know where we stand. We heard some promises that there would be an announcement soon relaxing the wage level and things like that. But until we receive anything, we are not going to be sure. We heard many promises in the past. So my wish would be today to listen to the participants and what they have to say about it. And then we can take it from there.
Excellent. Thank you very much. And we are super lucky to have our next guest here today with us. And thank you very much for making time. It is, of course, Paul Scully, MP for Sutton and Cheam, Chair of All Party Parliamentary Group on Catering and Curry Industry. And, of course, you were a Conservative Member of Parliament for Sutton and Cheam since 2015. So thank you very, very much for joining us today. Pleasure. It's great to have you here. Now, you're the man that knows all about this, and you're the one that goes there and rallies for us and, you know, fights for us. What would you like to see? What's that zest that you want to see in them?
Well, I think what we've heard is correct, actually. There is moves coming now. We're waiting for the detail, but for the so-called Vindaloo visas, which I know is a title that not everybody agrees with, but nonetheless the sentiment behind it is absolutely right, helping the industry, recognising the help. But the industry also needs to help itself. Government can't come in and do everything. So it is about what difference they can make in terms of imagination and innovation, in terms of recruitment and retention, changing and the marketing of the restaurants. And all of these sort of things are really, really important. How we can move to healthy eating, cost saving, and getting that bottom line right, which helps obviously with profit, therefore staying in business.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much for your kind words, and I really hope all the participants have taken on board the advice so far. Last but not least, thank you once again for joining us. It is, of course, a very friendly face of the Catering Circle, Yafar Ali, the founder-president of BBCA, and you're a renowned British Bangladeshi businessman. And again, you're so passionate about the catering industry, and like Ahmadud Samad Chowdhury, another pillar in our community. So thank you very much for joining us. And what would you like to say?
As a restaurateur, we are going through a very difficult time. I mean, we are all crying for the same things, crying for staff, shortage of staff in this industry. It's a good news that government has focused on one issue, which is Vindaloo issue. I should be very open. I'm quite pessimistic about this. Every time if there is an election comes, our community is being diverted by giving wrong information. Maybe the information is right, but it's type of bluffing, I think.
Yeah.
I'm sorry if I'm making a wrong comment on this.
Be careful, you have an MP next to you.
Yes, I have. He's a good friend of mine.
We don't want to start war right now.
No, he's a good friend of mine. I do respect him, what he stands for, but I have my own opinion as well.
But what would you like to hear
I would
from
like to see how the young people going to run their restaurant.
Okay.
And how they're going to recruit their staff. Recruiting staff from abroad having been very difficult. It's still existing.
Following procedures, of course,
following all the procedures. You can bring the staff right away now. If you can provide all the information and the wages level the government require, you can bring it today.
Excellent.
But unfortunately, we are not, as a restaurateur, Indian restaurateur, Bangladeshi restaurateur, we are not in a position to fulfill that gap of wages.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much for your kind words. Well, there you have it. Wow, there's heat in here already. I'll tell you what, if you're sitting at home and you're wondering, I want a bit more information, Nadia, well, here it is. Here's today's topic.
Episode 9, Immigration, Staff Crisis and Recruitment. Finding out sustainable solutions to these issues.
The UK curry industry is dying slowly, day by day. 2,000 curry houses have gone in the past 5 years. In Scotland, 100. In the north, 300. In the Midlands, another 300. 125 in Wales. In the southwest, 125. And around 1,000 curry houses from London and the southeast. How can we stop this happening?
Let's watch what people had to say during our roadshows.
কিছুটা সামাজিক প্রবলেমের জন্য হতে পারে, যেমন ঈদের সময় সবাই বন্ধ পায় না, এই জন্য অনেক লোক ট্যাক্সিতে চলে যাচ্ছে।
We don't have fully trained staff. It's because trainees from Bangladesh aren't getting their visas.
ম্যানেজমেন্ট এবং স্টাফের মাঝে যে দূরত্ব আছে ওটা ঠিক করা দরকার।
I find it difficult to get the right staff, so I decided to give up. So my son stand up and he says he want to take over. I says fine, but no, they're finding it very difficult to run.
স্টাফ সংকট সমাধানের জন্য আমরা সবাই যদি বিভিন্ন কেটারার্স অ্যাসোসিয়েশন, সমাজের বিভিন্ন ব্যক্তিবর্গ যারা কেটারিং এর সাথে জড়িত, তাদেরকে নিয়ে ইউনাইটেড ওয়েতে যদি আমরা ওয়েস্টমিনিস্টারে লবি করি, ওয়েস্টমিনিস্টার যে বা যারা আছেন প্রাইম মিনিস্টার থেকে শুরু করে সবার সাথে যদি আমরা এই জিনিসটা পৌঁছাতে পারি, আমার মনে হয় আমরা নতুন করে স্টাফ আনতে পারবো।
এখন স্টাফে যদি নোটিশ দেয় যে আমি আগামী 2 সপ্তাহ বাদে আমি আমার জরুরত আছে, আমি দেখতাম কি ঘুম হারাম হয়ে যায়, যার কারণে আমরা স্টাফ ক্রাইসিস বিরাট ক্রাইসিস।
Immigration restriction and business raids are not the only case. Let's see the reality. Attrition, why people leave, lack of good working condition, no flexible work schedules, lack of respect and pride, very few supportive colleagues, lack of appreciation, lack of coaching and feedback, not getting Eid holidays, and work-life imbalance. 87% of employees are not engaged in their jobs. What should we do? A high rate of attrition or staffing turnover in a restaurant means increased recruiting, selection and training costs. Building an efficient retention strategy seems to be the only solution. 75% of people don't quit their job, they quit their boss. How can we improve them? Coaching, feedback, opportunities to develop. Happy workers are 12% more productive. Respect employees, ask for ideas, show genuine concern. Workplace satisfaction. Have open and honest communication so that an employee can say if their work is meaningful for them or not. Pay fairly. Enable employees. Give clarity of their job role. Relationship with colleagues. Organize team events. Encourage informal chat. Let employees work together. Recognition. 78% of employees said being recognized motivates them in their job. Praise once per week. Ask co-workers to praise. Be specific with praise. Engage your staff now and keep them forever with comprehensive analysis, satisfaction surveys, effective onboarding, development, differentiation, opportunities, soft skills coaching, fun and collaboration, perform exit interviews, follow up. And finally, to conclude, do everything you can to make sure you recruit and retain the right employees. Keep them developed, happy, engaged, and they will be productive. Your restaurant depends on it.
There you have it, a lot of information there for you about today's topic, and I really hope the participants backstage have taken down all the notes they need to, and of course they did have some time with their mentor before the show today. And of course, if you're watching at home, you can also get in touch. All you've got to do is download the Catering Circle app, and of course on social media you can follow us, Catering Circle. Send us your messages. It's a live show. We will definitely try and read them out. Now, as I mentioned earlier on, that 60% of the votes are with our panel judges and 40% belongs to our special judges. Now, let me introduce you to our wonderful special judges. First of all, we have with us a face that needs no introduction whatsoever. She is the face of Channel S, the face of our community, may I say. She is a community activist, inspirational British Bangladeshi woman. She's known for her talents, many talents, you know, in the medical industry, in the media industry, and of course for all her community work that she does. You would have heard her on Taka Radio, Bangladesh Television, BBC BBC World Service, Bangla TV, and of course, as I mentioned, the face of Channel S as well, especially on the news. So thank you very much for joining us, Dr. Zakir Rizwana Anwar. You were also actually a very good friend to the Catering Circle because you've mentored a couple of the winners previously last year. So thank you very much for joining us. Thank you. Next to Zakir Rizwana Anwar, we have Hans Raj Ram, the CEO of Gold Star Chefs, CEO of Gold Star Chefs, and the director of Black Gold International. Thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you and good evening. It's a privilege to be here. This is, a very important subject, but Catering Circle is a very important platform, and I'm humbled to have been asked to come.
Thank you very much. Next up, we have Taj Uddin Shah, who is the senior solicitor and barrister. Thank you so much for joining us. I think we needed your expertise. With over 23 years of experience in immigration law, including dealing with immigration raids, civil penalty and related court cases. You currently have 3 offices representing 700 plus Indian restaurants in their various legal matters. So thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. We also have Anna Mir, who is a life member of the Catering Circle, a renowned businessman, a multi-cuisine operator for Jobaraj Group Cardiff, and of course has done a lot of work for the community and charity organisations. And let's not forget the mentors who have mentored our participants today. That's probably the hardest work. And actually, I think you guys sweat the most because you've got so many participants under your wing, and you don't know who you want to win because we can only take 2 through. So first of all, we have Abdul Kashim, who was the finalist Restaurant Star Show Awards 2018, winner of the Catering Circle Season 2 Restaurant Talent Show Awards 2017, and of course you're the owner of Chili Bar and Kitchen in Hertfordshire, and you're a very successful catering circle. I was going to say catering industry man. So thank you so much for joining us.
Great to be here, Nadia. And I can tell you this: it's better to be sitting here than standing there.
Well, yes.
Sure.
Well, you've done it a few times, haven't you?
Yes,
So
yes.
yeah. But you know what? By the end of the day, I've done this show now. By the end of the day, when I come to you, I promise you'll probably say, actually, Nadia, that was the worst experience ever, because I feel like they were my babies, and I just feel like I've let some of them down.
Great to be here.
Thank you so much. And of course, we've got another mentor with us. Again, a face that does not need much introduction, a very close friend for the Catering Circle and an executive member of the Catering Circle, and also a multi-cuisine operator. It is, of course, Ruhul Shamsuddin. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me. Very kind. This is a very important show for recruitment and immigration. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
I am too. Well, thank you so much. And thank you once again to everyone at home that's tuned in right now. If you've just joined us right now, don't forget you can follow us on social media at Catering Circle. And the show is just about to start. Let's go check out who our participants are today. There you have it, all our participants today. Unfortunately, 2 have sent their apologies. Haldi and the day of Raj could not make it today. However, we still have 5 participants participating, and we have 3 rounds. In each round, we will be saying goodbye to one person that has the least amount of votes. So let's move on to round 1, shall we? Round 1 is all about success stories, especially with regards to immigration, staff crisis and recruitment, and how the restaurants have been dealing with this issue. And this is what we want to hear from them. And of course, what our panel judges had said must be taken into account, because don't forget they hold 60% of the vote, so it's crucial you listen to what they had to say, and of course the topic video that we played out earlier on as well. And we want to know about your success stories. Now we have our first participant with us. Hello and welcome to the show, Rana from Dalston. So I've got Afzal Hamza Mahmood. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Just to let you know how this works, round one, you have 120 seconds. I know it's not a lot of time, but I'm hoping you've really practiced on your rap skills, because you'll be rapping through all the information. So you have 120 seconds to speak about your success stories, about immigration, staff crisis and recruitment. I have a little bell here which I will press. When you hear that bell, it means please complete your last sentence. Is everything clear?
Everything's clear.
Are you ready to start?
Yep.
And your time starts now, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you, panelists, and thank you, the guest. Assalamu alaikum, and thank you for having me today. My name is Afzal Mahmood, a short name. I've got 3 branches within London area: Dalston, Southwark, and Bow area. I'm in a way lucky because I'm in London area where the population is high. The chances of getting a hold of staff is much less of a crisis than actually where I feel for the other friends that are far away from London. First of all, I would like to say it is a staff crisis. Staff crisis is there, but we have to learn to actually know how to go about making a resolution to it. We can't just moan about it and then not do nothing about it. So the way my approach was to this whole venue is basically looking at the ethnic barrier. First of all, basically looking at the aspect that we currently recruit most Bengali staff members. How can we recruit other ethnic minorities or white minority into this circle, which I've done successfully by putting an ad on Job Shop, Facebook, and also in Reeds as well. So these things attract all the other people from different ethnicity and background. And it's surprising to see how many other background people are also interested in working in this sector. So you think maybe it's not going to work, but it does work. Then you have to put everything in place in terms of policy, procedures, the HR documentation. So you have to maintain all these records in place. So when somebody comes and approaches you, you give them a job description, you give them an application form, they complete it, and you go through several training with them. For them to work in the kitchen, they need to go through training. And you give them that support, morale, the whole lot. Tools with it. So, and also not only that. Sorry, I didn't realize.
Very long.
I didn't realize the 2 minutes went so fast.
I'll let you finish this sentence.
More important is showing them how to go up the ladder.
Thank you.
So it's not just working. Basically working at the bottom. It's also working up the ladder and also becoming a bit of a share ownership within the business as well.
Thank you very much.
So that's the way you recruit and retain staff.
Thank you very, very much for that. Thank you very much. That was a very long sentence with lots of commas in the middle, but I'll let you have that. So thank you very, very much. Next up, we have Roshni Restaurant from Stoke-on-Trent. Mohammed Ali, Stoke-on-Trent, sorry. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam. Would you like me to go over how it works, or are you okay?
Oh, I'm okay.
120 seconds and your time starts now, sir.
Well, I've got a restaurant in Stoke-on-Trent and we are there for the last 21 years. Over the years, we are okay with the staff. And recently, we are having problem with the staff for the last 6-7 months. For reason for the staff, like I know most of the restaurant takeaways, Indian restaurant having problem with it. And for that reason, the place we got problem, we had to rectify on that one, which is tandoori chefs. For that reason, most of the tandoori chefs, they really demanded. So on the time we had a problem, I had to change the tandoori, which is easy way to solution, which is we had like a latest equipment. And on the same time, this tandoori, anybody can use it. Even like on the time didn't have a tandoori chef. So I employed I had a cook, which is KP. I replaced tandoori chef with him, and it was really easy for him as well. And the equipment was really easy to use by anybody. So for myself, I would recommend anybody to go on that route as well if they're having a problem for the tandoori chef. And they will save lots of time and cooking thing as well, like because it's same as like tandoori, what we use it like naan bread and things like that. Same on this equipment we use it the naan bread plus the tandoori chicken tikka, this sort of thing. Like you can use it like either oven or grill. So myself, I had a grill on the time. So for now, I'm really happy for that thing. So
is there anything you want to touch on with regards to immigration and
well,
how?
immigration, I've got like European people working for me because same time I was looking for like ethnic minority, like which way I could go for it. So best thing, like I employed European, plus I've got like some stuff like
You have 5 seconds, sorry.
English people is working for me as well in the front of the house. So I'm really successful on that one.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much for that. Well done. Thank you very much. Next up, we have restaurant Delhi 6 from South Shield. We have Shah Amin. Welcome to the show. Would you like me to go over the rules, or are you okay?
No, it's okay. Thank you.
120 seconds. And please keep in mind to speak about your success story around immigration, staff crisis and recruitment. It's crucial that you touch on those topics, yeah? And your time starts now.
Thank you. My name is Shah Amin, and I did Delhi 6 last year. And before I opened, many people were telling me about the staff crisis and Brexit. And I looked at the crisis as an opportunity where we could look at our past generation, the pioneers of the Indian catering industry, but also see how we can incorporate their skills and the legacy that they had into the digital revolution we have today, and how restaurants can incorporate the digital technology. And I looked at street food being the concept, and I realized that a lot of people were very adventurous when it came to Indian dining. Their palates were changing from the 60s to the 70s, and today we have a lot of customers who are used to the chicken madras but now are excited to try authentic Indian cuisine. And I looked at street food as the concept for Delhi 6. And I recruited an Indian executive chef. He was experienced in the Taj restaurants, the Taj hotels in India. And I had the opportunity to open Delhi 6, and he's the executive chef now. And since opening Delhi 6, we've now gone on to establishing My Delhi in Newcastle city centre, which is an excellent location. It's in the heart of the city. And today, this restaurant now employs in Newcastle, we employ Africans, we employ people from different parts of Europe, and it's exciting. You know, we've gone on from the usual trend of just employing Bangladeshis, but we realise that having employed African chefs, tandoori chefs, or European waiters and waitresses, as well as females as well, you know, it's a breath of fresh air, and it's exciting for Delhi 6 and My Delhi to see this new concept emerging. And in terms of digital technology, we've been leading the market in terms of how to incorporate digital technology into our business, and it's been successful so far.
Excellent. Thank you. Wow, right on point. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot for that. Thanks for all the information. Next up, we have Viceroy of Windsor, Tajwa Shalin. Sorry.
Hi,
lovely to see you again. How are you?
Nice to see you as well. So, hello everyone. So I'm Tajwa Shalin, I'm the Assistant Manager of Viceroy of Windsor. I want to take you back to January of this year. So unfortunately my grandfather passed away. So my sassas, my uncles and my dad all had to go back to Bangladesh to do the funeral arrangements. It's 24 hours within the kind of death for them to handle that. So I had to basically handle the restaurant. It was supposed to be full staff, so it was okay. I come in Friday afternoon, I find out 3 of the staff members have gone. So we're 6 members down. So I'm panicking. I don't want to get my, obviously upset my dad. I don't want to obviously trouble them with my problems. So I'm like, what do I do? What do I do? I don't want to let them down. Go on Facebook, go on Twitter, literally. Is anyone in my local area, works in the restaurant industry? Can you help me out here? About 5-10 minutes later, I got 20, 30 messages, tons of people trying to help me. And I'm like, all right, come on down. Within 2 hours, we were already staffed by over 2-3 extra people. And then the entire restaurant, all of us, youngest person there, 18, oldest about 30, 35. And when I say this atmosphere in the restaurant has never really been like this. You had people from all over, all my friends from Ecuador, we had people from Pakistan, India, Somalia, everyone just kind of came around together, and it doesn't really kind of show it's kind of breaking those boundaries. We all worked together. Fair enough, it wasn't the best terms of revenue, but it was more of an experience. People were enjoying working at the restaurant. People now keep messaging me, is you got free on the weekend? Because I feel like when you have like a young manager who kind of understands their position and where they're coming from, it's more of an enjoyable experience to work in. It's something we need to kind of usher in down to the older generation. No one wants a 60, 70-year-old man, kind of to yell at them and treat them not like people, like human beings. If you kind of acknowledge that and talk to them, be friends with them, have a nice security and environment, that's what you really want for the restaurant industry. That's how we're going to be trying to move it forward. So when it comes to recruitment, going online is always the best way. Young people, Friday, Saturday nights is the busiest days for the restaurants. We're not pretty much doing Friday, Saturday nights. I don't go out much, to be honest, nowadays. So I'm free. Some of my friends are free. Making £50, £100 on the weekend, great money as well. So that's a really good kind of avenue. Full-time staff as well. We're in an employment crisis right now. A lot of my friends have finished university. None of them can find jobs. Some of them have been waiting 1 year, 2 years for jobs, and they have good degrees. So why not work in a restaurant for 1 or 2 years? That's where you need to be looking for the issue, and that's where we're supposed to be finding our staff.
Thank you very, very much for that. Thank you. Although I don't think you touched on the immigration side to things, but hopefully if you make it through to the next round, I'm sure our judges will give you a chance to touch on that topic. Last but not least, we have Kipling's Tandoori from London, Muhid Rahman. Thank you for joining us. And again, please keep in mind that today's topic is about immigration, staff crisis, and of course recruitment, which our previous Tajwa actually did touch on. But please keep in mind about the immigration crisis if you are recruiting anyone.
Actually, my name is Muhid Rahman. I come from this Kipling's Tandoori. Actually, I'm Bangla.
That's fine. You can do it in Bangla and I'll explain it. 1 minute, sorry. আপনার টাইম এখন শুরু হয় 120 seconds. 120 seconds এর মধ্যে আপনার কথা বলতে হবে ইমিগ্রেশনের ব্যাপারে, স্টাফ ক্রাইসিসের ব্যাপারে এবং কিভাবে আপনি রিক্রুট করেন। ঠিক আছে? Your time starts now.
Okay. Actually, আমাদের বিজনেসটা হলো আমরা 1.5 year করছি। তে ইনশাআল্লাহ এখন পর্যন্ত তুমি স্টাফ ক্রাইসিসে পড়ছি না। আর আমরা যে লোকাল একটা সময় স্টাফরা আমরা বিল্ড করি লোকাল একটা apps আমরা এটা ইউজ করি লোকাল নেক্সট ডোর একটা ইউজ করছি এবার যে সোশ্যাল মিডিয়া করি তখন মতো স্টাফ করেছি না স্টাফে আমরা মোর ফেসিলিটি আমরা এখানে মতো আছে আমরা ট্রেনিং করি আপনার মান্থলি ট্রেনিং করি ফেসিলিটি দেই এমাদের তারা যেন আপনার যে সময় খামোর যেটা ফ্রিডম যেটা আছে ওগুলো আমরা প্রোভাইড করি বেশিরভাগ ফ্রিডম করি আর আমরা এই রেস্টুরেন্টটা আগে আসলে আসলে 2 টাইমের রেস্টুরেন্ট কিন্তু আমরা এক টাইমও করছি যে মোর কনফিডেন্স তাহা লাগে মানুষ যে দিনও টাইম পাইলো তারা ফ্যামিলিটারে আপনার মেনটেন দিলা ইন কেস হওয়া লাগে যে আমরা রেস্টুরেন্ট আমরা এখানে আসলে টাফটা খাইছি ওটার লাগি নাই যে 2 টাইমের রেস্টুরেন্ট নাই এক টাইমও করি যে একটা ফ্যামিলির লোকের ফ্রিডম করলো ইভিনিং কাম করলো আর টাইমটা এবারে ভেরি শর্ট আর ফ্রিডম করে আর যদি আমরা কোনো স্টাফের আসলে কোনো সিকনেস থাকে বা থাকে এগুলো আমরা প্রোভাইড করি যে টাইম দিই তারারে যে কভার করি আমরা নিজে কভার করিলাই আর ওগুলো আমরা আসলে স্টাফ আর ইমিগ্রেশনও আসলে আমরা যারা এখানে কাম করেন সবও আমরা কোনো লিগেল মানুষ করি একে কাম করি আমার চেষ্টা করো আমরা ইউরোপিয়ান একটা মানুষটি আমি সেট আপ করার অলরেডি আমরা লাস্ট উইক একটা মানুষের লগে ডিসকাস হয়েছে তাদের একটা ফেসিলিটি দেখাইছি আমরা যে রেস্টুরেন্টটা যে ও ফেসিলিটি আছে আমরা গেছে তো যদি আমরা কোনো কাম করতে চাই কাম করতে পারবে তো ইনশাল্লাহ হেও একটু একটা রেসপন্স দিছে যে আমরা এখানে কাম করবো তার আওয়ারলি দিছি তারা যে তার চাইছে তার একটা গেট আপ চাইছে গেট আপও আমরা ফিল করছি আমরা কইছি যে দেখ তুই আমরা ইউরোপিয়ান আমরা কাম করিয়া দেখো আইয়া যে কতখান বেনিফিট ভাইওর সমান বেনিফিট আমরা গেছে আছে তো ইনশাল্লাহ আমরা আসলে ক্রাইসিসটা পড়ছি না বছরই হোপলি পড়তাম পারি বাট আমরা ক্রাইসিস আমরা ফ্রিডম ফ্রিজ থাকতে হইব সবর আমরা যে বর্তমানে ক্রাইসিসটা ফ্রিডম ফ্রিজ আর ইমিগ্রেশনও তো আপনার একটা প্রথম তো আপনার ইমিগ্রেশনও যদি ইমিগ্রেশন আসলে তো ফেস করছি না আমরা বছরই যেহেতু আমরা লিগেল সব আপনার স্টাফ আছেন তো ইনশাল্লাহ আমরা আরও ইমপ্রুভ করতাম আগে আমরা স্টাফটা ইজিলি করার লাগে
Thank you very much. Thank you. Just to try and summarise with the best of my ability, so forgive me if I say it wrong. So what Mr. Modraman has said is he has used an app, a local app that has helped him recruit staff and of course clients around his area. He does monthly training with his staff members to just keep them up to date with all catering issues. Once a day, he tries to have a briefing with all his staff members. He also runs his restaurant in the evenings, so during the day, he can give his staff members time off. He has fair working hours for his staff members, and his staff recruitment, he has not faced any crisis yet, as he tries his very best to have a very strict rule when it comes to recruiting staff members, their background, immigration needs, and only if he can fulfill them, then he offers them a job. So thank you very much. I hope that was okay. So thank you very much. Thank you very much. You can take a seat now. Well, there you have it. So that's our 5 participants that have taken part in round 1. And this is where our judges, our panel judges and our special judges will start to vote for their favourites. And of course, one person will be going home in round 2, and we will be taking forward 4 participants. Now, whilst our judges actually do their voting, I have a few questions. There are a few things that I found. I'm going to start with the panel judges. Actually, I felt I'll come to Paul Scully actually. Firstly, I felt that some of the correct me if I'm wrong, but I felt that the participants didn't touch on that immigration crisis enough. Do you feel that there's something missing? Do you think they don't understand what immigration crisis is?
Not necessarily. I think actually, one interesting thing that's leapt out at me was Delhi 6, for example, Shameen, because he was the way I took it from him talking about the immigration crisis was to sidestep it, not in what he was saying, but sidestep it in how he's running his business. By actually, we know that the long-term solution is actually domestic training and getting people from outside the immigration crisis at sea, because the changes that we need are almost a transitional phase. The long-term view is to look at other ways of marketing your restaurants, other ways of recruiting from within the UK. And it's that kind of approach I thought was refreshing.
And I think they did actually touch on that. Everyone touched on that. But I found that they were very... they concentrated quite a lot on we like having Eastern European staff members in our restaurant,
which in itself, actually, it's great again for medium term. But with Brexit coming on, we've got to look at again domestic, because what's going to happen? You're not going to have the same freedom of movement of people just being able to come across from Eastern Europe to the UK, unless they've got particular skills.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Paul, for that. I'm going to come to Tajuddin, and I'm going to ask you actually. Do you feel that there are? Well, this is a bit cheeky. If I could ask you to just pass on the mic to Tajuddin, do you feel that there are any loopholes when it comes to trying to fulfil those immigration needs?
Well, the primary concern is that it's a busy restaurants Friday evening or weekend, Saturday. This is the main days for the immigration rate. And the way the goodwill of a restaurant damaged, which I see from my clients, is the next day it comes in the local news, and most of the customers on Friday evening, they are well known to the restaurateurs or the staff, and they see their favorite staff from the management, or one of the customers' favorite chef has been escorted away by handcuff. They use excessive power. So it's damaged the goodwill of the restaurants. And we all respect the law, but there got to be some flexibilities for the employers when and how these rates
and
are conducted.
And what are these flexibilities?
Well, first of all, when the officers visits, normally they with the police escort, and they should not use excessive power. Working illegally, it is not a criminal offense. Employing illegally, it is not a criminal offense. They are enforcing the law. There should be a fair approach. And also, we need to consider what is the long-run consequences for a business. because once it comes in the news, especially I have seen in the remote areas in many parts of the United Kingdom, once it comes in the news, it damages the relationship, long-standing relationship between a restaurant owner and their long-standing client base. So these are the issues we got to look into. And as the panel judges said, for many years we have seen broken promises, and I work with the restaurant owners, as you have said in the introduction, for last 20 years, and I have seen their pain and agony. And in terms of the young people, we have to come out from this idea of the restaurant jobs are not untouchable jobs. To become a good chef, it requires years of experience.
Yeah.
And we must understand this and we must respect.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much. That's from the horse's mouth. He's a solicitor himself, runs a very successful business and works with many restaurants. So thank you very much for that. I'm going to actually ask Hans Raj Ram a quick question. Now, you know, with your background and with your speciality, do you feel that there is a crisis when it comes to recruiting chefs? And what can be done immediately?
Yes, Nadia, there is definitely a crisis, but I think sometimes I feel it's one of the most misunderstood and misinterpreted problems. Now, as someone who's dealing daily with chef recruitment and the immigration part of it, which is obviously the Tier 2 sponsor licensing, I think it's, at the moment, the barrier, the threshold is very high, so it's not accessible to everyone. But, you know, as we speak, you know, the system is evolving and the system is changing. It has been inherently and traditionally kept fairly strict and, you know, fairly sort of a high entry barrier. I think really it's not for everyone, okay? And I don't see it being, you know, people ask me, oh, is it opening up or are things relaxing? While there's been significant, very significant changes of late, but I think the actual infrastructure, you know, the immigration infrastructure of sponsor licensing is going to be, you know, rigid for some time. Okay, so in terms of, if you say this, as in the chef crisis, I mean, there isn't obviously enough time to explain it, but it's very much to do with, you know, outmodedness. It's very much to do with changes. It's very much to do with, you know, shortage, supply and demand, but it's also to do with the, you know, the sort of perhaps, you know, the market itself. You know, there has to be a whole sea shift, you know, change. But, you know, as we go along, and I think there are some people obviously with certain areas of expertise, be it in politics, be it in immigration politics, be it in sort of you know, practitioner. I think that we all have the same, you know, the same agenda, but, you know, there's a lot to do.
Yeah.
And a lot to say.
Well, thank you. Yes, I know there's a lot to say, actually. It's never ending. But thank you so much for that. I'm going to come back to our panel judge, and I'm going to ask Ahmadus Samad Chowdhury a quick question, actually. Something that Tajwa Shalim mentioned about, you know, when his father had gone to Bangladesh, his entire family, and he was like, he mentioned, you know, I'd rather have the younger generation taking over instead of having a 70-year-old man shouting at me. So he was quite strong about having the younger generation in the catering circle. And actually, our second round is all about various ways of recruitment, training and retention. So my question to you is, do you think, firstly, it is important to get the younger generation involved and of course, females, because we lack female bodies in the catering industry? And how do you think we can capitalize on the younger generations to come into this business and gain business success?
Well, many episodes we run about encouraging our women to join the industry as well as the younger generation. And thank God, with the Catering Circle programs, many we have witnessed have joined. We have bankers, they have left their job and joined their father's restaurant. So it is encouraging, and we are doing everything we can. And when we began the Catering Circle, you know, program and visiting in different areas, we found that my generation, you know, they were reluctant to adapt with new ideas and, hygiene and all sorts of things, technology and so on. So it is encouraging. But for this young man's case, I think it is one-off. His family went back, and then he had to advertise on social media, and immediately he got many interest. But I think it is a temporary measure, because in our industry we need people who are dedicated and who are going to stay within the industry. Yeah. So they are not necessarily they have got degrees, but they learn from their experience. So, and also to do with the other participants, some of them are very small businesses, so they could run with people from different nationalities. So far as East Europeans recruitment is concerned, we have seen and we have got experience about it that many people employed them, but it was for them to come and take a job and then they move on elsewhere, because they could be a builder, he could be a plumber, but he started a restaurant job. So that is not the solution. Yeah. The solution is
to find people with experience.
Relaxing the immigration rules and the heavy-handed tactics has to stop, and give us the opportunity to bring people from Indian subcontinent, especially from Bangladesh.
From Asia. Thank you very much. I actually have one question. I know my producers are saying that I've got to go on a quick break, but my question is for Yafar Ali, actually, because something you mentioned about having younger generations involved, and of course there's not enough females in the catering industry. Now, as a president for BBCA, how many women do you have, a former president, how many women did you have or do you have currently on that board?
Well, to be truthful to you, we have asked and tried to reach quite a few members of our association to become a member of our association.
Females.
Their wives and
But why
daughters.
their wives? Because their wives aren't running the business. I'm talking about business women.
No, some of them have their wives involved within the helping in the kitchen, helping at the front. It depends how experienced she is.
Okay.
They're quite reluctant, but we are encouraging ladies to come on board because we need them. They have better experience of cooking, and they are not less with anything. They have got the experience.
So what are we doing wrong? What are these big organisations like BBCA, BCA? There's so many catering associations out there, but there aren't enough females. Why? What are we doing wrong? Is it because there's a bullying tactic? You know, I'm a man and I'm a restaurant leader. Is that what it is?
No, it is not. Traditionally, we are being tied up. Our hands have been tied up traditionally. And as you know, our background is we do not try not to involve our wives or daughter into some sort of job that is degrade our status.
Of course.
But this is slowly dying. I mean, I have 6 children. They're all working 5 days a week, and they're holding a high profile in the working system.
Absolutely.
But we are
good friends with your daughter.
them.
She's a brilliant photographer.
My daughter is she's a graphic designer, bubbly, and she's a photographer as well. But I haven't stopped them.
Yeah.
She's not a housewife.
Yeah.
Only my wife is a housewife because she is been like this all her lifetime. But our children are coming on board. I totally agree with Samad Shah that we have to come on board with new ideas. I have a son who sometimes inputs some ideas. I want to implement on it, but I can't because of my age.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much for that. And actually, on that note, thank you very much, because actually I've known you for years, Uncle, and you empower women to another level. I've seen you in your speeches, so I do agree with you. And I think women out there that's watching right now, if you have a restaurant, come forward, get in touch with the Catering Circle. This is the platform. And of course, we've seen lots of British Bangladeshi women do absolutely amazing in the catering industry, Nadia Hussain being one of them. And of course, recently Sarah Chowdhury, who was on the Catering Circle, has recently just started a show herself with Sanjeev Kapoor in India. So there are women that are actually going out there and taking over the catering industry, but we just need you to come forward and empower others. On that note, here's a little break. After the break, I will announce the winners that are going to make it through to round 2. Welcome back to the Catering Circle, Season 4 of the Restaurant Talent Show. I do actually have the results in my hand right now. We had 5 participants today in round 1. We will be saying goodbye to one. As I mentioned earlier on, panel judges hold 60% of the votes and 40% of the votes are with our special judges. So without any further ado, let's take a look at who the winners are and who's moving in to round 2. Let's take a look at the results. And the results currently, Delhi 6 with 70% of the votes. Congratulations, well done in first place. Second place, we have Viceroy of Windsor with 62% of the votes. 3, we have Kipling's Tandoori with 58% of the votes. And we have Rana in 4th place with 50% of the votes. And only 2% down missing, Roshni is in 5th place, who we are going to be saying goodbye to today, unfortunately. But well done to everyone that participated, and we're really sorry, Roshni, that we're having to say goodbye to you. That's Muhammad Ali. Now, we are going to move on to round 2, but before we move on to round 2, I'd like to speak to our special judges. Round 2 is all about various ways of recruitment and training and retention. I'm going to come to Dr. Zaki Rizwana Anwar, and I'm going to ask you, what would you like to see them talk about, or what do you think was missing in the first round? What would you like to hear from them?
Okay, in the first round we have heard from the contestant then. They have said about that how to combat the immigration problem. So they gave the idea about that taking stuff from other ethnic backgrounds. Someone said about automation and others. And what interesting is someone said capitalize the concept that our taste buds are changing. One contestant was saying that he didn't face any problem. What I would like to see in the second round, that when you have your business plan, you have to have your plan should pass the stress test, because there are some extrinsic factors like immigration policy, economic recession, or political uncertainty. Those things you don't have control over that, but your business plan should have some system, some backup plan, so that, as I said, that it should be, you should pass the test. So whatever happens in the outside world, still you will survive. Absolutely. Not only survive, you will thrive.
To survive. Thank you so much. As I mentioned earlier on, apologies, I should have come to the mentors first. We obviously are losing Roshni, but firstly, congratulations, because Delhi 6 is in first place. But how are you feeling, Ruhul? You're having to say goodbye to Roshni, who was under your wing.
Roshni was given examples of equipments, and in the long term how he can save on employing maybe another labour, and how that's working efficiently. So, I mean, he's done well, and I would like to see more examples of that and more diversity in the workplace.
You've only got Viceroy of Windsor left. That's still moving on to round 2. What would you like to say to him?
I'd like to say his Facebook and social media campaign about recruitment on last minute and really want to know the quality of staffing. How are they again for long term?
Yeah.
Is that something that he recruits them on long term, and is it just an apprentice scheme? And yeah.
Thank you very, very much for that. Thank you so much, and well done, Kashim, because all three are still in the game. So well done. I'm going to come straight to Anamia now. Thank you for joining us. And my question to you is, how do you think they can, because obviously round 2 is all about recruitment, retention, and staff crisis. How do you think they can recruit, the better ways of recruiting, marketing?
Thank you, Nadia. It's a pleasure to be here finally.
Yes, there are plenty of methods and ways of recruiting. We have the traditional methods, that the tried and tested formulas that we are still. Hasten to add that a lot of the catering industry is using, but there are new methods that we have to engage in and we have to explore to be able to find the right recruits and retain. Retention is a very prominent feature that the more we can retain, the less staff that we have to find. So retention is a very specific factor that we have to.
So how are they retaining?
How are they retaining as well? Basically, it's training and training within the locality, within our own community and within the extended community as well. Just you have to go with the flow and go with the times and try and recruit your key members of staff.
Absolutely.
And I find it within my own organizations that a lot of my key members of staff, they tend to be able to assist on that, and within their circle of friends and Facebook friends and social media, they're able to recruit the right person so that they can work with them within the organization that they so love. So basically, we have to keep using the traditional methods as well as exploring the new social media, all the other recruitment factors that are available out there. And it's just a case of using the modern technologies and the modern methods and making sure that our businesses benefit from them.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much. And of course, don't forget, I think some of the main factors that we tend to miss out on, Anamia, you touched on very important factors, but also motivating your current members, having that staff training involved, and also just making sure that that work balance and family life balance is there for those staff members. And of course, feedback support like you would have in a normal job, whether it's in banking or teaching or whether you're in a solicitor's firm, but actually where you get to sit down, have a feedback session, have one-to-ones, find out what their career developments are and help them achieve those goals. So I think that's really, really important to keep in mind as well. And I would love to hear how you all do that in round 2. So let's begin. So in this round, we have 60 seconds. It gets harder and harder, and I know, and I apologise, because I wish I could give you more time, but you do only have 60 seconds. However, hopefully in the next round, if you do make it through, you will get an opportunity for the judges to fire a few questions to you, where you could prove or go on about some of the things that you miss out on. But hopefully you have 60 seconds, and as I mentioned, your rap skills need to be on point, so you really need to go through it. So don't worry about thanking us, do that later on, okay? So your 60 seconds start now. Round 2 is all about various ways of recruitment, training and retention, and how you tend to do that. So please keep in mind what the judges have said, and your time starts now.
Thank you very much. With regards to recruitments, the way we go about doing it is we do Facebook campaign. We also do Google ads. We also do job shop. There's a job shop, local job shop basically available. And also we do word of mouth and WhatsApp group. So these are the few elements that I tend to use at the beginning. Then there are various other ways of doing it. At least you know someone or somebody working in that field. So when we do put an ad out, we tend to encourage people to they're not just coming for job, they're also coming to in a lifestyle. So it's something that showing them that to enjoy themselves rather than just doing a particular job. With regards to training, anyone we recruit, we tend to give them, first of all, food and hygiene course training. Either we do in-house or we do externally as well. There are online-based courses that they must do. They also have to go through risk assessment and all that stuff to make sure all the legislation and everything is covered.
Thank you. I'm going to
retention-wise,
last really quickly.
Retention-wise, look, there's always the prospect of moving up the ladder. There's always a prospect of having a staff meeting, having a staff moral. Every month we have a staff meeting. We also have event taking place, like end-of-year party. We have a team building experience as well. So these are the few things that also, and Eid days we also close.
I'm going to stop you there now. Thank you so much.
There are so many aspects, but people need to
Thank you very much. Thank you so much for that. Well done. Next up, we have Delhi 6, who was actually number 1 in round 1. So it's firstly, congratulations, well done. You're doing something right, so let's hope you can do the same thing in round 2. Your time starts now.
Thank you. My concept is you don't build a business, you build people. I learned this before I started this business, and people build the business. And when you invest in the right people who share your vision, people who share your ethos and your values, then you're on a successful formula. You can have all the best concepts in the world, but if you don't have the people, then you're not going to get anywhere. And I've learned from my father's teachings. He was a successful entrepreneur himself, and he always said, invest in your people, look after your team. And we've created an environment where staff want to stay a part of the Delhi 6 family. We've created a nice atmosphere, a family atmosphere, where they can feel that they are loved. And when you appreciate your staff, and when you train your staff, and when you create an environment where they can progress, I think staff want to be part of that kind of business. When I was a staff myself, I wanted to work for somebody who had a vision, who had values, who looked after me, who appreciated me, and who understood my potential. And that's what we at Delhi 6 would like to do.
Thank you. Can I just say, you're a very good speaker. I think everyone will agree to that. So, very good speaker. So, thank you very much. I was mesmerised with everything you had to say. So, well done.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very, very much. Next up, from Viceroy of Windsor, we have Taj Shaleem back on. Welcome back.
Thanks for having me again.
No, thank you.
2.
And your time starts now.
So I missed a bit about immigration, so I'll go through it just quickly right now. When you're targeting just kind of Bengalis, just Siletis, usually men, single in their 40s, of course you're going to have a staffing crisis, more of a self-fulfilling prophecy. Eastern Europeans, now it's all Eastern, that's not going to solve it as well. The issue is, again, looking inwardly. And our sassas and uncles, the ones who've been previously, they've hit it on the spot. We have the apps, we have the technology. Everyone has Gumtree, Facebook. All the technology is there, and we are using it. The thing is, it's what my sassa said before, it's making them stay. You have to create an environment where they want to stay. You have to make the opportunities enticing. No one really wants to work at curry restaurants because of this reason. But if you keep it competitive, you make a nice environment where people want to work there. They're looking forward to it. That's what we really need to be going for in this world. Otherwise, you're going to have what problems I had back in January. You're going to have people coming and then just leaving straight away. But if you bond with them, if they can talk to you, if you're transparent with them, you treat them as human beings, and you can kind of understand where they're coming from, you can talk to them, and then they will talk to you if they have issues. And by that, you can kind of create, you won't have these issues. You'll build an empire. You can build a family together. And that's what we really need to be going for. I actually think I did it. Well, when it comes to training itself, again, just respect. Treat them slowly, go through it. Not everyone knows everything about the restaurant industry from the get-go.
Thank you very much. Again, very, very well said. And I think you touched on every single thing. So well done there. So thank you very much. Last but not least, we have Kipling Sundori, Muhid Rahman. Well done. You can start, হ্যাঁ, সো আপনাকেও আবার বলে দিচ্ছি আর এখন এই রাউন্ড হলো রিক্রুটমেন্টের উপরে ট্রেনিং এবং রিটেনশন, সো আপনি আপনার স্টাফদেরকে কিভাবে রাখেন আপনার কাজে?
থ্যাংক ইউ। আসলে আমি আগে হয়ে গেছি যে আমরা যে স্টাফটা আমরা আগে সোশ্যাল মিডিয়ার মাধ্যমে সোশ্যাল মিডিয়ার থেকে আমরা করি আনি তারা গেছে। আর আমরা রিসেন্টলি আমরা একটা ইয়াং জেনারেশন একটা বাইরে আমরা ইউনিউ করে তারা আমরা 2 দিনও লাগে তারা আমরা 2 ঘন্টা করি তারা একটা ট্রেনিং দেই। তারা আমরা ট্রেনিং তার পেইড করি আর তারা ট্রেনিং দিই। তারা আমরা যে কিতার লাগে তাই আনা হয়েছে আমরা ইয়াং জেনারেশনটা আমরা এই সেক্টরটারে আইতে চান না, তো আমরা ইয়াং জেনারেশনে ইমপ্রুভ হওয়ার লাগে আরে 2 ঘন্টা করি আমরা 2 দিন তারা ট্রেনিং দিই। তো ওইটু লোকে আমরা মেইন আমরা যদি আমার রেস্টুরেন্টের কথা হইলাম আর কি। আর আমরা যে সোশ্যাল মিডিয়া তাকে দেবো যে আমরা যে আগে আমি হইয়া গেছি গাংটির নেক্সট ডোর একটা অ্যাপস আছে, অ্যাপসের মাঝে দিয়েছি তারা আমরা একটা যে এই যে ইয়াং জেনারেশন হে নেক্সট ডোর থেকে আইছে।
কথা আপনি বলছেন এটা কি অ্যাপ?
আসলে এই যে নেক্সট ডোর আপনি এটার একটা
নেক্সট ডোর অ্যাপ, ওকে, ইয়েস,
এই যে ইয়াং যে বাইটা আইছে এই নেক্সট ডোরটা থেকে ফলো করি আইছে।
আচ্ছা,
তারা আমরা ওটা লেগে দিয়েছি। তারা আমরা 2 দিন না করে 2 ঘন্টা করে তারা ট্রেনিং আমরা বেসিক্যালি করি আর কি। তো ওইটা লোকে আমার লাগে একটা গুড একটা সাইন আছে আর কি সোশ্যাল মিডিয়া।
Thank you very much. Thank you so much. So just to recap what Mr. Rahman said, he's involved the younger generation via internships. So he's offered a young boy that's at university 2 days a week for 2 hours a day for some work experience, like an internship, to just make him understand about the catering industry, yes, and to support him and to just inspire him to be in the catering industry. So that's something he's recently started. He's also very active on social media. One of the apps that he's using successfully right now is called Nextdoor. It's quite a new, app actually, where you get to just be a part of your area, and you can talk about restaurants, you can talk about staffing, you can talk about selling things. So that's brilliant. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you. All right, there you have it. So we've had 4 of our participants on in round 2, and now it is time for our judges to again go ahead and vote for their favourites. We will be taking 3 across to round 1, which is our last round, round 3, sorry, into the last round, which I'm super excited about. And it's going to be quite tough because I think it was very, very close. They were all very good. They had a lot of information to say. And I'm going to come to our special judges whilst our panel judges start to vote. And I'll come to I'll come to Hansraj Ram. Do you think they've ticked all the boxes?
Definitely. The thing about recruitment, it's about having new ideas, fresh thinking, and the young generation clearly not only entrepreneurial in running their businesses, but also entrepreneurial in how they recruit. And one of the very quickly, if I can mention, in my business. In recruitment, a lot of it's actually coaching employers how to magnetize their businesses, not just to attract customers, but to attract the right people. And it's also, coaching, candidates, people who go out looking for jobs, best presentation, best practice. So there are opportunities, in spite of the shortages, but I'm really heartened and encouraged by what we're hearing. So very much it's about innovation.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I'm going to ask Paul Scully, but while he's voting at the moment, so whilst he's voting, I'll let you vote in peace. But whilst he's voting, let me remind those that are at home, you can also be a part of Catering Circle. All you've got to do is download the app, and you can of course watch back your favourite episodes and get in touch with us. We're also on social media, so please do get in touch with us. Send us your questions. Let us know who your favourite participant is. I'd love to hear from you. It's at Catering Circle. Now, Paul Scully, I have a question for you actually, and this is something that I think many people would like to know. What do you think, or what do you suggest to ease immigration restrictions, especially in today's day and age with everything that's going on? How can we ease it, or what can be done?
There's a fundamental thing that we can do, which we're looking for the detail from Priti Patel's, the Home Secretary's suggestion, and that is the fact that at the moment the occupation shortage list talks about skilled chefs. It discriminates against restaurants with a takeaway element. Predominantly that's to stop just fast food outlets, just chicken shops and these kind of things banging out, having immigration coming in and relying on that. Every curry restaurant, pretty well, apart from a couple in the middle of London, has a takeaway element to it, and there is no less skill on preparing a curry, whether you're putting it on a plate or in a foil container.
Of course.
The skill and the love is in the preparation earlier on. So getting rid of that unintended consequence would be a really big boon for the curry industry as a whole. But we've seen some really good examples today already about whether it's using different equipment, whether it's actually engaging people in a different way, which actually negates the need for changes in the immigration system in itself.
Do you think Brexit's going to play a big part in this, though, now?
Well, Brexit will have an effect, undoubtedly, on EU staff, in the future. Not people that are already here, that are engaging there, because they can apply for settled status, but they won't be as readily available, because the default option has to be, let's look using next door. Let's look at local issues, these kind of things. Then maybe go around the country. Then maybe go around to the EU and other countries after that. But it shouldn't be a default to go to first. Shouldn't be a default to go to Select. Shouldn't be a default to go to Romania or all these sort of things. But they should remain options.
Absolutely. Thank you. I know Ahmad Samad Chowdhury is dying to say something. I'll let you quickly say something.
I wanted to add something. Remember the SBS system?
Yes.
They were brought for 1 year, the very poorest of the poor people, to this country,
this was a couple of years ago,
knowing the fact that they would not return. That was over 10 years ago. These guys are now chefs and managers skilled, and they are undocumented. So if they are given the documentation, then we already resolve half of the problem, immigration problem.
Thank you very much. That's a very good point. But thank you very, very much. And actually, we might have a chance where someone can answer to that a bit later on. But we are going to go on a quick break as our judges carry on with the voting. Round 2 has been completed. We will be saying goodbye to one of the 4 participants before we move on to our final round. So here's a quick break. Welcome back to the Catering Circle, Season 4 for the Restaurant Talent Show. We are on round 3 now, and but before we proceed on to round 3, we of course have to say goodbye to one of our participants out of the 4. And I'm really, really excited because I think they were all very, very good. I think the judges had a very hard job for this round, and I promise you it gets harder. And mentors, I'm coming to you because I told you you'd be sweating the most. So let's take a look at our winners for round 2, and here is the results. In first place again, holding that winner title, is of course Delhi 6. Well done, with 88% of the votes. Then we have Viceroy of Windsor in second place with 78% of the votes. And in third place, we have Rana with 52% of the votes. And with only 2% less, with 50% of the votes, we have Kipling's Tandoori. So we are having to say goodbye to Kipling's Tandoori Mohid Raman. Thank you so much for participating, and well done for coming this far. Now we have the 3 that are coming through to round 3. And of course, please take into account all the advice that the judges will obviously give to you. But before we do that, let me speak to our mentors. How is our mentor feeling? So Kashim, that was one of yours.
Kipling's Tandoori. Yeah, sorry to see him go. Perhaps he could start selling some apple pies. I don't know. That might help. But yeah, I'm pleased with Delhi 6. He's there. He's the way he comes across. He's very confident. He knows what he's doing, and he knows what he's talking about. And I think he'll go all the way.
Okay.
I'm very confident.
And what about your other one? That's not very fair.
Well, no, not at all. you keep saying Rana. I think it's Ranna, isn't it?
Is it Ranna? Ranna, sorry, yes, Ranna, there you are. Ranna, there you are.
He's, again, very talented. And again, he's picked up on a lot of the things that are on the brief about recruitment, about immigration. It is tough. These UK board agencies, when they do come in, all guns blazing.
Yeah.
Mainly on a busy weekend. And already we are struggling with staff. And the last thing you need is disruption, an hour and a half, 2 hours. Restaurant almost virtually at a standstill. However, they have a job to do. And we can ease things ourselves by making sure that we have all the records that are necessary, that are there. So when they do come in, the paperwork are all in front of them and they can quickly go through it. And rather than spending 2 hours messing around, it can be done half that or even less. So I think that's very, very important.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And Ruhul, you still have Viceroy of Windsor. They're very close, so well done. We're going to move on to round 3. Now, round 3 is all about cost savings. And of course, I will speak to my judges to ask them what would they like to hear from our 3 participants that are remaining in the game at the moment. So I'll come straight to Yafar Ali. When it comes to cost savings, what would you like them to touch on? I mean, it's really important. It's really important for them to talk about training, etc. Is there anything else that you would like them to talk about?
Training is very important, and cost saving is much more important than the training. If you don't have the cost saving in your system, you cannot recruit anybody. I would suddenly say, how do you market? How do you, and what sort of people do you employ for your restaurant? Do you really save money by employing good people?
Yeah.
Or you have a right technology to help you on the side as well?
Yeah.
One of the
that's a good point, actually.
Yeah, one of the guy mentioned he has got equipment that cook for his restaurant, but you need somebody there.
That's going to manage that.
Of course. The machine itself will not hand over you. You have to have somebody there to get the whatever has been cooked by the equipment, handle it. So there is a need of equipment you should use, and above all, marketing is very, very important.
Yeah.
What sort of food you buy, where are you from, you buying it, is the supply. If you can marketing by yourself, fresh food would be available to your restaurant.
And planning efficiently.
And plan efficiency.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
it does really help. And you help when people around you, your clients, see that you are doing shopping for yourself.
Yeah.
You have a more value for your restaurant.
Yeah.
People think, oh, he's doing right job for our food.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And of course, keep in mind what Yafar Ali said to you. And of course, don't forget thinking about things like the equipments you use, the marketing strategies to help cost savings, and of course, your business development plan. What is your plan in 5 years, in 1 year, in 10 years? How do you plan those staff members? How do you save money when recruiting, whether it's through apprenticeships, where the government is helping nowadays, or internships, as Kipling, unfortunately, has left, but something that he's been doing at his restaurant. What is it that you're doing to help manage your cost savings? So please keep those in mind. So without any further ado, let's begin round 3. Firstly, apologies, because for the first 2 rounds I've been saying runner, and you have been very kind enough to not correct me. So it is Ranna Restaurant, so there you have it. So Ranna Restaurant, well done, Afzal, for coming this far. Again, 60 seconds, all about cost savings. You've heard what Yafar Ali had to say, what I had to say. Please keep those in mind, and of course what your mentor had to say. And your time starts now.
Thank you very much. Cost saving wise, technology is important. If you have a good technology like EPOS system and also the right technology, there's no point having so many technology and they're not efficient and it doesn't work for staff. It's a problem as well. Having the right technology, also giving the right training to staff is also important. So when staff know what they're doing, then it's easier and they can work more efficiently with one another. Having a lot of staff and not having right training is also a waste of money. So that's the one big cost saving that we do in our restaurants. And also the other bit that we tend to do is shift, basically. So we have the busy peak time, we have non-peak time. So we tend to have staff coming in, let's say 4 hours during the peak time, instead of having them coming in the whole evening. So these are the other aspect of cost saving that we tend to do as well. And on top of that, basically, having the right marketing strategy, not only that, having the right price strategy as well on to your menu is important.
Thank you.
Having less like
Your
having
sentences are so long.
I know, but having, let's say, the menu price is low, having lots of stuff is basically a waste of money.
Thank you very much.
So having the right strategy is very important.
Thank you very much. You will get a chance to say more when the judges ask you questions after everyone has had an opportunity to speak. So thank you very much. Next up, we have Delhi 6, who was number one in both rounds. So welcome back and well done. And again, you have 60 seconds to speak about cost savings, and your time starts now.
Thank you. Before I opened Delhi 6, I saw this Gordon Ramsay program, and the first thing he did was minimize the menu. And I asked myself, do customers want a book to read where there's 200, 300 items on a menu, or would they much rather opt for a simplified menu? And I believe that in a road where we are based, there's 11 Indian restaurants, and every single restaurant has huge, extensive menus. And at the beginning, before I did a restaurant, I used to think that was an excellent thing. But then when I realized, in terms of cost effectiveness, you have to minimize your menu. And when you minimize your menu, you're going to minimize your costs, and which I believe is highly important in order to run a profitable business. And if you are to run a sustainable business, then you start having to look at the pricing strategy. And your pricing strategy can't be, I'm going to be 10 pence less than next door. Your pricing strategy, you need to analyze the cost, and you need to analyze what the food margins are. And I think at Delhi 6, we got that just right. And we also analyzed the shift patterns of the staff. When is the off-peak times and when is the peak times? Rather than just having people from 5 to 12, we identified having them during the peak times.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you.
Last but not least, we have our last participant for round 3, and this is from Viceroy of Windsor, Tajwa Shaleem. Good luck. Your time starts now.
So my main cost-saving ideas all run around efficiency. I have basically 3 main points for this one. My first one is always investing in new tech. Investing in new tech is your long-term sustainability. You really have to look long-term for these goals. It might be big expenses short-term, but comes out long-term, it will always do you well. And that also makes it more accessible. If you have the top technology, people will want to come and work at your restaurant. You'll be attracting the best, and that always comes in good for you. Number 2 is also being environmentally friendly. Now, this one is always a bit 50-50, always thinking environmentally friendly is actually being more expensive. But as we know, as Mr. Scully definitely knows, we're going through a climate crisis right now. If you've been living in London recently, seeing all the congestion and everything, we have targets to meet. And things like turning off your lights, turning off your ovens, simple stuff that we can do that's costing us tens and tens of thousands. All these little bills that keep adding up, that is costing us, that we can definitely hang around. And when it comes to environmentally being friendly, also, being vegetarian, vegan, it's a huge income market coming in right now, and Indian food is essentially vegan friendly. If you reduce your meat and your chicken consumption, that's where a big budget of ours goes into. And when you also, people eating less carbohydrates, less rice. When you're having a biryani come back, half of it not eaten, clearly you should be seeing that, taking it, reducing it, and fixing your allocation portions.
Thank you very much. I'm going to ask you to stay there, and I'm going to ask the other two to please come and join Tajwa, please. And this is where our judges will get the opportunity to ask questions. And can I please just just ask you to be mindful that we don't have much time. It is a live show, so I will try my best to give you all an opportunity to ask a question. I will allow the participants to take a minute to answer the questions, no longer than a minute, if that's all right. So I'll start with our special judges. Who would like to ask the first question? Yes, please.
Thank you. This question is targeted to all three of you. Obviously, you have touched on your summaries that on cost savings, energy efficiency is a very important factor. As you know, we are in a very living in under times where climate change is prominent in the news at the moment. So, what measures are you introducing in your businesses to save energy and being environmentally friendly and becoming greener to that effect?
Who are you asking that question to?
If I can ask Delhi 6, if you could answer that question for me.
Thank you. You have a minute to answer that.
I think it's an important
Please
issue.
come forward.
Thank you. I think it's an important issue. We've looking at sensor technology where when you walk into the ladies' toilets or the gents' toilets, when the lights come on, so you're cutting costs there. We're looking at ways of LED lights, which is saving as well, and how to be a bit more, generally speaking, how to be more climate friendly. In an environment where there's a lot of talk about this, so we've implemented those measures, and we try to be, we try to implement measures that the government are currently, highlighting.
Thank you very much. It's actually quite funny you say that because even at home, I actually have automatic lights everywhere. And I think that definitely makes a big difference with saving costs. And of course, let's not forget, we have apps nowadays. So, for example, my oven works from my phone, so I can turn it off, make sure it is off, so I'm not wasting electricity. So keeping those kind of things in mind when you're at work.
Just to add, from being a restaurateur myself, just my own experience, investing in new equipment, especially in our kitchens, I found you can cut your gas and your electricity bills by 50% if you have the right equipment. So we may pay a little bit more for up-to-date brand new equipment, but on the long run, you save a lot of money on your bills. So that's a tip for some.
I have a quick question before I go to you, because I want to keep it within cost savings. Just a little bit about HR-wise, how you deal with HR policies and how you work around your staffing, because actually that has a lot to do with cost savings as well. Especially with regards to today's topic with immigration crisis, etc., and staff crisis. How do you work around that? So I'll leave it open to whoever wants to answer that.
I'll answer it.
Okay, please.
Basically, we have a HR person, a separate entity herself. She actually looks into the structure of every branches and how we can minimize or maximize the profit and minimize the cost.
Yeah.
The way we do that is basically what we discussed earlier, is structure in place where during the non-busy period we have few staff members, and then during the busy period we have more run around staff members who actually benefits the business. So this is the huge cost saving factor. And the other thing with regards to environment as well, just want to add on since I'm speaking, is we also have recycled bags that we actually have in place as well, as well as everything with LED and all that we have in place, and toilets particularly, staff leaves them on, so we change it into automated.
Thank you. I'm actually going to ask Tajwa a quick question, because Tajwa, you touched on this earlier on when your father went abroad, your family, and you had your friends come in from all different backgrounds and helped you run an Indian restaurant. Now, we've heard from Run a Restaurant about how he manages the HR policies. But how do you actually keep those stars, you know? Because you always have excellent staff members and then you have some demotivated staff members. And when those demotivated staff members, we sometimes call them, in the financial industry when I used to work there, they used to call them emotional hoovers. So how do you overcome those emotional hoovers and how do you motivate your staff and keep that retention rate?
Well, thanks for the question. So, without really sugarcoating it, restaurant industry isn't the glorious, glamorous lifestyle. Let's be honest at the end of the day, but it is a living. It's a good living. It's one we inherited. So when it comes to that, I feel proud doing it because obviously my dad sacrificed.
Yeah.
But you do definitely get those demotivated. And my issue is always kind of finding what drives you, what wakes you up every day.
But how do you retain those good staff members?
Well, the good ones, you just kind of have to respect what they give to you and then kind of enforce that. So basically, if they've given you a lot, you have to appreciate that. You have to take that from they're sacrificing their time. They're helping your business. They're sacrificing their time for your business to be built.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you have to respect kind of that. And then when it comes to demotivated staff, again, it's a lot. Mental health has a play to it. Sometimes they're not in a dark place.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you have to talk to them as people, see what's going on in that issue, cover with that. Sometimes you kind of have to incentivize them, whether that could be completely up to the person individually, whether it comes to after a 6-7 hour shift, instead of having like a staff curry or anything like that, have like a chicken tikka masala or anything. Just food itself, it's such a nourishing, happy kind of feeling. It's great for your senses. So just kind of small things like that can really boost someone's mood or ego.
Thank you very, very much for that. Yes, quickly.
One little point. But with us, what we tend to do is when we see staff, individual staff morals are down, we tend to have a one-to-one session with those individuals. And it's really important when you go and speak and sit down with them, and you get to hear what the kind of problem they're facing. Then it's easier to support them. And without knowing what the kind of problem they're facing, it's hard to basically get the morale back to normal.
Thank you. Thank you very, very much. Something that Viceroy Windsor restaurant mentioned just about mental health, actually. It is Mental Health Awareness Week and, of course, Mental Health Day on Thursday. So anyone that is suffering from mental health issues, please do go online and look up those numbers because there are people here to help. And, of course, there's helplines that would be there for you. And as I work for the BBC, I would advise you to go onto the BBC website and have a look at those numbers. I'm going to come straight to the to our judges. I know you had a question. I don't think we have time for a question, but if it's a really quick one.
Just a quick one, and I think we will miss this question. I pointed to the Delhi 6. Your restaurant raided Friday evening, 3 people taken away. Immigration write to you after 2 months saying instead of 30,000 fine maximum, because you got a good record, we'll put 15,000. But you cannot prove that these people have permission to work, so you have no defense. So how do you sort out this 15,000 bill? What would you do? If you don't pay, they will instruct a bailiff to enforce this against your business.
I think it's a very important question. What I would like to say is not only are you going to be given a fine, but you're going to be potentially you could lose your alcohol license. And I've seen people who have lost their alcohol license. And if you're serious about business, then I don't think you should be going down the route of hiring people who don't have the correct paperwork. And I think it's vitally important that we maintain and adhere to the regulations that are stipulated by the government. And hence, I wouldn't really want to be in that position. And I hope, I'm never in that position, because we try to adhere to the correct procedures by asking for paperwork and for asking for, the correct documentation that the government demands.
Thank you very much. Now, I do only have 5 minutes, and apologies, we have no time for questions anymore. But thank you very much. Votings have closed now, so I'm going to have to leave it there. However, I will let the judges say a few words a bit later on. But before I ask you to say something, I'm going to do my closings now because I only have 5 minutes left on my hand, and the votes are being calculated as we speak. So if I could start with Yafar Ali, we've heard them speak about things like motivating the staff members having that great teamwork, inspiring each other. How do you feel that they've done, and what do you think can be done for those restaurants watching at home today?
I think these guys have done an excellent performance today, gaining knowledge how to run the restaurant. Yeah. And retaining staff was a very important issue for any restaurant around the country. And I think they are doing their best to interact with the staff within the restaurant and giving best possible solution if any of the staff is having a problem on that, which is very good. They have done. I would very much advise them that our traditional way of recruiting staff is contact with one another to get a best chef. But apps is a good idea. You get the answer very quickly. But keeping those staff is a hard things. They do not stay for long. And if you do not have a staff who stay in your restaurant for a longer time, you lose your confidence within yourself and all sort of things. But I would say try your best to retain the staff you love and give them the opportunity they want to stay in your restaurant.
Thank you very much. And actually, on that note, Paul Scully, I mean, you know, we think it's really important for them to think positively, especially in today's day and age with everything that's going on with Brexit and, of course, the immigration crisis, which you touched on. How do you think they can carry on encouraging growth in the industry?
We've heard some really good examples, actually, whether it's alternative equipment, which these are less skilled to use, whether it's minimising the menus, whether it's the environment and portion control. We haven't talked about upselling as well to actually increase your profits in the first place. But I think one of the things that came out earlier on was, you know, being able to engage young people and women. You know, rather than necessarily asking the husband's position, maybe go and ask the women in the first place directly, because there's some really inspirational women. You mentioned Sarah Chowdhury earlier on, and these kind of examples. So we've heard some really good examples, and I hope these are shared, win or not, with the restaurants up and down the country.
Thank you very much. Thank you. And last but not least, Ahmed Samad Chowdhury, your closing comments really quickly.
Briefly.
Yeah.
They're doing very good job. They're in the right direction, you know. But I think they have to go out in order to recruit women and more younger people. One thing I wanted to ask was about the opening hours, you know, because opening hours has been a killer, you know, lunchtime, evening, long hours. So I hope, you know, you have reduced hours, you know, opening hours.
Thank you very much. I actually only have a minute, which I need to do now. I need to do the results, need to speak to our mentors, and need to say goodbye, because we do have the news coming up next. Now, I do have the vote in front of me, and in this round, as I mentioned earlier on, 3 people have made it through. 2 will only make it through to the Business Conference 2020. This is the 9th episode. So firstly, well done for coming this far. And the winners for this episode... In first place, we still have Delhi 6 with 88% of the votes, and 2% less with 86% of the votes. We have Viceroy of Windsor and Ranna. Unfortunately, we are having to say goodbye to you, but well done for coming this far. You've been a great contender, so congratulations. Well done. Well done to our winners. To say a few winning words, I guess, very quickly.
Just like to say to any future entrepreneurs out there, believe in yourself, believe in your capability, believe in what you can achieve, and inshallah, you can go on to live your dreams.
Thank you, Viceroy.
Well, I hope today's been useful for everyone to kind of get a good kind of balance and everything. I hope my words as a young person kind of getting to the industry has kind of inspired some of you guys to also go into it. So
thank you very much. Thank you. And of course to our mentors, well done. I feel really happy because 1 each. So we have Delhi 6, who's in first place. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling good because, yes, 1 each, but I've got 1 up on him. Yeah, very good. Well done. I think, you know, all of them, they're all talented.
Yeah.
And this is the future.
Absolutely.
This is the future. And, you know, females, we do need them. And I think a lot of the restaurants are attracting front of house staff, but not back of house females, and that's where we need to look at.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, we have back of we have them in the house, don't we? Cooking all the best foods. Coming to Rolbai, what would you like to say?
Absolutely brilliant. A lot of informations that the audience can take, and just briefly, like local councils, some local councils do offer business workshops and recruitment workshops, so just utilise them as well. Okay.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much, and thank you once again to our panel judges and our special judges for joining us today, and of course well done to all our participants, and thank you for watching at home today. All I've got to say is think positive, be positive, and of course don't forget motivating those staff members that you have around you, because you want to retain those great staff members, and those that are slightly demotivated, learn to motivate them and help develop their ability, and of course start with your staff crisis at home, like Paul Scully mentioned earlier on. Next episode, which is our last episode on the 5th of November, is all about financial planning. So please do come and join us and get in touch with us. All you've got to do is download the app Catering Circle and follow us on social media. That's it for now. I was your host, Nadia Ali, and I'll see you on the 5th of November. Take care.